Hey everybody, Demo here with our Mythic Dimensius guide. Awesome boss here, lots of fun theory crafting new thoughts. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make a guide. I'm gonna try to keep it um, full on, as much information as I can give you at a short time. I know nobody wants to watch like a 30, 40-minute video, so I'm gonna try to make it short and sweet, and try to give you the big high points, and make sure that your guild, when you watch this and you try to kill this boss, you keep the pulls to a minimum and you kill it as fast as you can. This boss overall for us, I thought we did good in P3. P1 we probably did really bad. P2.1 really bad. I missed the first 4 days of progression here. That could be part of it, but we just didn't play that well there. But towards the end, in the like last couple raid days, we played really good, and we were fighting a little bit of attendance boss as well sometimes in there. We dropped 45 rankings from our Nexus King Saladar polls, and finished the tier at 919 in the world. So super happy about that. So getting into here, I'll break P1 stuff, P2 stuff, P2.1, P2.2, and then P3 things. So to start, the first thing that I think you need to do, and will help, is you need to get a raid plan, and you need to come up with who you have in for your bosses, and have your in for the boss, and have split sides. So right when the boss spawns your 6 ads, figure out who's killing the 3 on this side, who's killing the 3 on this side, and who's going to pick up. Try to keep that consistent, and then come to the middle. Okay. After that, you will have your spread and your first knockback and puddle drops, just like on heroic, similar. And you want to plan this out. That way, as every single pull in P1, you just continue to drop in the same exact spot in the correct spots. That'll be true from the first pull to your last pull. You want to make sure that these are clean like this. You'll have a little hallway. It's usually marked by this little thing. You can put down markers. I think that's a great idea too, and that'll help out with the consistency. We have the hallway. Obviously, we did front to back. Some people do side to side. I don't think it really matters. That's just the general strategy. Front to back, suck down your friends. That's what we always called. And then the second drop spots, you want them a little closer. These are quicker drops, so you want to have the raid plan for your group and where your drop spots are going to be. This is even outdated for us, but just try to keep it updated for your group. It will help. And then sucking down your friends again. Gateways, 2 times Warlock, kind of needed on this fight. Kind of need 2 DKs as well. We had 3, and then meeting in the middle. So this is kind of the raid plan for phase 1, and then your next drop spots, and then you finish and you pretty much push. Okay, so this is just general stuff. I would say for phase 1, you want to have this raid plan. I'm going to go over just another raid plan thing while I've got it up. This is the stuff that we kind of did for the inverse gravities. Inverse gravities start on P2.1, and then they continue in P2.2, and then they continue in phase 3. So you kind of set up 3 different groups. I can kind of show what they look like. These are kind of expanded out, and then you want to make sure that your group is set up in the different orders. How you orientate this is all that matters. So we would tell people, like on our Tosian, we'll get to this, but in P2.1, you kind of start on this top side and you run down to here. Some people would have your camera angle facing outwards. I always told people that our camera angle will be facing inwards. So people, you get here, you turn your camera inwards, and that's the place you want to be. So, and then we kind of thought about it like from a clock. So from my perspective, I'm at 4 o'clock. So whenever I do inverse gravities, it's 4 o'clock. And again, we'll come back to this. This might make more sense later, but just explaining. But this kind of goes through all the soaks and whatnot. So you want to share this and get to it. So we'll talk more about that later, but this is the raid plan part that you'll want to kind of copy and go from there. So going into the fight here, we'll start right from phase 1. This phase 1 is no joke. It's tough. It's not free at any point during progression. People always die to it. And the biggest wipes that you will have is that your people are just not killing the ads. So these living masses here, they're not dying on time. Or people are just not picking them up, not sucking down your friends, or bringing more people with them than they should. Okay, so the first devour here, a lot of damage. You'll assign your healing cooldowns, whatever makes sense for your comp, and you'll come together, use your externals, and then you get ready for your first knocks. Now, just like that raid plan that we said, you have your assigned locations, and you want to make sure that, after a raid day, you might be reviewing your logs, and you might look and say, like, okay, why are these positions really messed up? And why they're messed up is because you look at the logs and people aren't in their assigned positions. So then those are to call out, and look, as you can see, the first ones look really nice. My call here always has been make sure to focus the back living mass. The back living mass will always die the slowest, and as you can tell here, we have 2 of them that are left. It's both, I'm sure on the other side as well, it's exactly the same. It's the back mass. So once these soaks come down, you're going to kill the masses. The little orbs don't spawn until they're all dead. So everybody gets in and soaks. and then these two back people come here. Another call that I make, and you'll have a lot of times, these people that are picked from this, the inverse gravity, they'll accidentally run over an orb. So as soon as like 5 seconds before the orbs drop, I would always say, that's the only wipe condition we have in phase one. If you accidentally pick up an orb, we wipe. So, it'll happen, but as you get more and more pulls, people just keep reminding them, okay, on your way out, don't accidentally pick up an orb. That's what I would call right there. Good people to pick up are like hunters, healers, because I don't really want to be picked up later into an inverse gravity. So me picking one up as a healer is a good thing, right? So then they suck down their friends and they come down. And so then the next push is a quick, and as we saw in the raid plan, it is a quick drop. So you want to make sure that you're getting in position for this. Every class can do it. As you can see here, even as a druid, I could wild charge. I didn't take wild charge on this fight, but I just placed mine next to old ones. So even though I didn't make it to the other side, but we have somebody, hunter, that dropped it right in the middle. Not very good, right? Not good, but we can play around it, okay? Same thing here. We're getting to the living masses. I say focus the living masses. They instantly drop. This would be fine to pick up before the orbs come out, right? So like now would be a good time. Your ad damage has been very good. Pick them up beforehand, okay? So I might pick one up. I might just wait. Yeah, I just waited. Still had to cast my Trank there, and I go and pick up the front one, it looks like. And then this is the big part. This will be like a big pain point. Like you'll see a lot of guilds that'll like hit this point, and it's the second Devour cast. So it's sucking down your friends. There is a big weak aura that you're going to want to have to make sure that everybody has this in the middle of your screen. 0 of 2, hide soon, right? And it'll tell you when you're done. A lot of times, even I think 2 polls before this, our kill poll, our left side messed up. They went too soon. They didn't suck down the person, right? So, as soon as you see this done on your screen, that is like your call. Like you can tell your group, like, wait for that done. And if you start like day one progression waiting for done, it's going to be really good for you. We take double gateway. 2 warlocks are really it's not mandatory, but it kind of is mandatory until they maybe fix the fight. You double gateway. Everybody presses a personal here. Every single defensive. This is, tough. People are gating. Not many heals can go out, and you've got your heal assignments, whatever works for your group coming out right here. AMZs, rallying cries, all that stuff. Just keep people alive. Early on, you could send a Hellstone Health Pot right here just to keep progressing. Okay. At this point, a lot of people might say, just focus boss damage. That's it. But we've always played out the next mechanics, right? So you could say just focus Dimensius here. Don't focus the living masses. You probably could not even get in the suck and just focus pure boss damage, but I never wanted to have a wipe because of that. It's just easy enough to do the mechanics. The mechanics are not hard. If you focus the living masses and get them down, again, that's my call. Focus living masses. We're dropping our old puddles next to our new puddles next to our old ones, and we're getting ready to soak, and the boss health is still at about 10% roughly. I'm telling people to finish the masses. Even I'm throwing some wraths in there to try to get it down. And then we pick up, and then we finish. Dimensius now is at 5%. You're sucking down your friends to get them down to the very end, and you're getting ready to phase. Now, we have done a little different strategy than other, and I'll get to that when we get to P2.2. But there's some classes that we want to send in P2.2, and there's some classes that we want to make sure that they have P2.1. Most groups are going to have enough damage to make this push in T2.1, which is skipping the knockback. You just don't want to deal with this next knockback. That's about your only timer. And so that really depends on your group. So for example, 2-minute classes, now warlocks are an exception, but maybe our warriors wouldn't send at the 1.5 minute mark. Maybe our DKs wouldn't send breath at 1.5. Maybe they would. It just depends. And we'll get more into the cooldowns later and how all this worked out. But it really depends for your group what you want to kind of send here. Because you want to make sure you have enough Artosian damage. And if you have extra damage on Dimensius and you're pushing too fast anyways, you might as well take away P1 damage and add it somewhere else. Like we don't mind going a little slower in P1 as long as we make the knockback. And as you can see here, we have 10 seconds till the knockback, and it's an easy push. So, yeah, that's pretty simple here. And again, I will dive into more of that later. Since, like I said, our P2.2 strat is a little different. The orbs here, I would say getting used to having 3 healers do one off tank do one, and maybe like a boomkin or an Ellie shaman do the other one. And it's more important that I think that the people that do the orbs are the same people through all. It just makes it simple. We kind of had a little switch up at the end to get more damage in P2.2, but we grabbed a hunter and our Ellie shaman to grab one, and then a healer and I, as also a healer, grabbed the top far ones. So we're the last ones of the platform. So our P2.2 damages, we want it to be really good. So we switched to some healers taking it so that DPS can get there sooner. And then off tank takes the bottom one underneath the platform. Pretty simple. Now, P2.1, our whole goal here is that we want to skip the second rock throw. So, we have all 1.5 minute classes sending, our warlocks are holding, our arcane mage is holding because we want him to have good damage on P2.2. But for the most part, most people are blasting, sending 2 minutes here and just making sure those 2 minutes or 3 minutes come back up, or making sure they're back up for the P3 burn. At this point in this strategy, I never wanted to hold damage, and I wanted to skip as many P2.1 and P2.2 platform mechanics as we could. And we'll really see that in the next one. Everybody kind of does the same thing here that they skip. The big call that I make is that fragment call. So I'm just watching when this fragment. That means he's picked the rock. You can't have anybody over on the other side. It could pick out on that side. So you want to have everybody stacked up here. You deal with the lines just like normal. And then as soon as this calls, I just would say 3, 2, 1, go. And I would give a roar, and we just run across and resolve. Now, this is the first resolve from the screenshot that I sent to you, or I showed you at the beginning. When we look at this, these are your positionings. So when you've assigned people to different positionings, you assign them something like this. This is where you look back in your VODs after a raid day, and you look at your review, and you say, your logs, and you say, okay, why is 6 people stacking up on one side? It's because they're not following the order, right? And you need to do whatever works for your guild. But like I said, what we did was I would always be 4 o'clock facing inwards. 4 o'clock facing outwards is different. It would be up here. 4 o'clock facing inwards towards the boss is back here. So as you can see, I get about to 4 o'clock roughly, and we have a nice even spread. So we don't take too much damage. This part right here is going to be in P2.1, your biggest wipes. It's the lines coming into the wind. Okay, so if I can check here who has winds or lines. It looks like Bear, Up and Go, and maybe somebody else. So you want to have people play greedy if they need to play greedy. Okay, your priest, if they get knocked back, you have 1 GCD from getting knocked back to getting into the straight line to be pushed back. Okay, so you want your priest playing greedy, but your mages and your warlocks, look at the demonic circles. As soon as they get hit by a line, the demonic circles are right in the hallway. We consider this the hallway. Just make sure that classes that need to be greedy, like priests or anybody else, as a resto druid, I don't have wild charge to save anybody. I can't trust anybody in my raid to wild charge. That's why I don't have it. So I would always take like right here. So when I get hit back, I'm right in the hallway. And then you just push against it. We had a couple people on here. As you can see, they get the Void Warden debuff. They ran into a wall. So it's savable. You got to be ready to external them or anything. I externaled Undeed with Ironbark, and Gash, he practiced cheat death. But yeah, it is what it is. No big deal. If you look at our Otoshin damage, this is pretty normal for all groups now. 5%. I just tell everybody single target and skip all mechanics. I don't want to hold. I don't want to gate here. That just introduces a new white mechanic. I don't think it's worth it all. I will say that we assigned out the DKs to grip each quadrant, and then we have a blow on this one. And then we have a CC order. Make sure you set up the CC order. The Void Warden should die. The backward Void Warden, your Warlock should do a really good job of it, but just make sure that also you call that out. That's one thing I didn't say is that, I would always say here, when we get across the hallway, I would be telling people to use a defensive, and then I would say open up the hallway. That's always like our verbiage is hallway. So, and that would just be killing this nullbinder. So here I would say defensive everybody, and range hit the Void Warden. So range are now supposed to be targeting the Void Warden, opening up the hallway and making sure we're good to go. And as you can see, it's open. So that's just that. Now, the second phase, P2.2, as we get there, again, you're going to fly again, and you're going to see all that here, and we have all those orbs assigned. There's videos in the Discord, Raid Lead Exchange Discord and all that, where you can sign these out and figure them out. You'll see which one I get. But what you're going to see here is in P2.2, one day when I looked at the logs, we were about 250 million damage on Pargath from skipping the gateway, skipping the inverse gravity, skipping the rock throw, and skipping basically all of the hardest part of P2.2. Now, a lot of people will say you shouldn't try to skip anything in P2.2. You should try to last as much as you can, save as many cooldowns as you can, all for P3. And I've watched a lot of progression streams for Dimensius, and everything that I've seen is when people get to Pargath here and they have everybody up and they have a B-res, and as soon as they get to the second part where you get down by this purple marker down here and you start playing down here, people die. And all of a sudden you go into phase 3 with 2 people dead. You are never going to kill the boss with 2 people dead. We are not as good as the guilds that are in the top 100, 200 that are doing 2 buyer runs. We will not be doing that, and you can't kill it. So I wanted on our Monday raid when we got down to 8% pull, I wanted as many chances into P3 with Lust as we could, and again from the progression that I've seen, I wanted to make sure that we were successful. So we went for heavy Pargath damage. And with the heavy Pargath damage, we were able to make the push and get into P3 way more times and clean and still push below 60%. Really depends on your comp and your group. But here's what we did. So we ran a Prism on our Blood DK, and he sent a fully stacked 18 stack Prism here and his full cooldowns. We had a Warrior that had a Dynar, and we sent our Warrior with a Prism. Not common. I don't think there's a single Fury Warrior in the world that in the top 100 that is using a Prism. But he had a Dynar, and I said he went from one of our least damage on Pargath to one of our highest damage on Pargath. He pops Avatar, Blaze Storm, everything, and a fully stacked 18 stack Prism, and he does like 300 mil to Pargath. Perfect. That was awesome. We had a Frost DK with a second Dynar. I had him go Prism and Ritual Forge, and I had him use Ritual Forge right here. So instead of using an antenna, which is proc base, I had him switch to a Ritual Forge, and he used Ritual Forge. Now, also, our DKs are not sending 1.5 minute cooldowns. Rogue is not sending 1.5 minute cooldowns. I'll tell you who is sending cooldowns. Ellie Shaman's not sending cooldowns. We want to make sure that the biggest thing is that we still have cooldowns for the end, but we need to spend a little bit more to make that Pargath push. Okay, the hunters are all sending their 1 minute, I believe, just 1 minute. So we have 4 hunters sending 1 minute, and they're all sending a Ritual Forge. There's only one Bear. He is sending a full stack Prism, and I think actually 2. We sent Headshot with a full stack Prism. We didn't need to. We probably just went Ritual Forges, but we went full stack Prisms just to make sure we made the push. Our Arcane Mage, we only have one of them. Some groups run 2. He is setting up his cooldown so that he can do a mini burn when he lands, and then he will have shifting power, and then he'll do a big burn at the end. So that's how he gets almost like 2 burns in a minute time span, because we're not playing the full platform again. Okay. Tarek does Shadow Priest does normal cooldowns, just a minute cooldowns. He doesn't use his 2 minute cooldowns. Steel Team 6, same thing, does the same thing. Warlocks, I have them going Infernal, which is normal, and they use Pot. So Infernal plus Pot, and Syrup use a Pot as well. So we've got the normal cooldowns that are committed, but we added like 1 or 2 more people just to make a push. Okay, just to make the push, and we used it also the use of second on use trinkets like Ritual Forge. Okay, so that use made it so that we could skip a mechanic in Pargath. So I just wanted to explain exactly the cooldowns that we use. It's dependent for each group, and it might not work for you. It might only work because we have 4 hunters who have a lot more damage than other classes. Like they can always kind of go. Maybe you don't have that. If you're early in Prog, maybe getting a second or a third hunter might be good for you long term. They do absolutely amazing in P3. So knowing the cooldowns that we sent, knowing the strat here, let's see how it's executed. So in P3, you land on green here. This is pretty easy. You're going to assign 3 people that are going to eat the orbs. You pixel stack here. It worked out here that we blew on this orb and we grabbed the other 3, kind of kept some higher uptime on some melee, and we just had 2 Warlocks, Soak, and myself. It can be anybody. It doesn't really matter. So with skipping the second line over here, we can gateway on this first one. So as you can see, a gateway is right here. That helps a lot. A lot of progression is getting through this goop, this shit, and figuring out how you're going to get to the other side. It works for every class except for Priest because they're a shit class, so they need a rescue from Evoker. Sorry, Priest. But yeah, so you soak here. I call a defensive. Everybody uses a defensive, and then I call the gateway as soon as the rock's thrown. We gateway over to the side, and we have a quick resolve. So as you can see here, we got plenty of time left, and everybody's in position, full health. Now, Warlocks carry a lot of the hallway damage right here, the Void Warden. Warlocks will carry a lot. If your Warlocks aren't doing good damage when you look back here, bitch at them. They should be nearly soloing this thing, both of them, okay? Because they havoc on the boss and hit the Void Warden, okay? These people that take the dot, they will take a lot of damage. This needs spot healed. That's usually my job, is to make sure that I'm healing myself and healing the 2 Warlocks as well. We bring the boss all the way to the top, mostly to the top, and we have people continue just all at this point is single target park damage. So right here, we're making a pretty good push. At Conqueror's Cross cast, about at the start, we want to be at about 10%. We're trying to miss this fragment cast of 10 in 9.9 seconds. Everybody baits again on the lower side, but now at this point, we can grip. We might not actually need to grip. I haven't checked into it. I just had them still grip and still push and just still CC just to make sure no casts go off. But again, we have 534 mil to go, and we have a 10-second cast to beat to skip all the mechanics. So everything right now is pure single target damage. Nobody AoEs, no AoE spenders, all single target. and now we're at 83 mil left, and we have 4.5 seconds. So we made the push pretty easily, and plenty of time. And as you can see, 8 mil left. You don't even have to soak. You honestly could. You're never going to have these explode and miss the timer. So you could just have everybody go right and nobody soaks. It doesn't really matter because if they soak, it's right as you're about to get pulled in. So as you can see now, we've gone into P3, more healing cooldowns. We haven't had to commit. I don't commit a trank anymore to that phase. I don't have to commit another convoke at the very end for the wins. I don't have to commit anything. And we go into phase 3 clean. I liked making P2.2 a free platform. So that's what I kind of considered. We really, after we switched to the strat, we did not have many deaths in P2.2. So it was good. So now at this point, you've got big stack prisms. You've got big damage, 1.5 minute cooldowns from everybody, big cooldowns from a lot of people, rebuff in here, and everybody just blows their load here. You lust and second pots and send it. For some of the people that potted on P2.2, obviously they won't have pots and they don't have cooldowns, but we've got a good measurement here. The measurement that I used with other guilds and ourselves is I'm looking at Dimensius health right here. And I know right now when I'm looking and I see it 66%, I'm like, that's a super good push. But I know I'm looking for the last star drop. And now when the stars are dropping, I'm looking at the last star drop because right now you have free damage and nobody's doing mechanics. Nobody has any mechanics. The only thing they have to do is step forward so they don't die. And so that's kind of my gauge with other guilds is like, how are we doing compared to them on the last star dropping? So last star drops, we're at 56%. I'm like, this is one of our better pushes. We've had 58% pushes, 60% pushes, but like 56 was a better one. And basically, this tells me like we're in kill range, right? If we would have had 62%, we still would have been in kill range. You'll see at the end. But overall, it's just a really good push. And this is kind of what I measure on is anything around 60% is extremely good. So again, when we go back to the raid plan here, I can kind of set it up for like, I think the heart. Like this will set up for your different soak styles, right? So your first soak is a line soak, and we'll go into that. And then your next soak is a V soak. It's usually on the other side, actually. The tank is usually on that side, but whatever. And then the last soak, the fourth soak, 2 and 3 are V, and this one is in between planets. I'll dive into a little bit more of that as we get going, but planning these out and sending these as like screenshots to people and stuff like that is important. I created threads within our Discord for each of the groups. So, we have range soak discussion, and I'm showing people exactly where they're going to be, trying to show like, hey, we also have a lot of videos. We had, inverse gravity soaks. We had all the soaks from Sense on YouTube as well. Yeah, so we have like all the three discussions, how these are going to work and whatnot. So just showing pictures, I think that's super helpful. Keep people on track with what they're supposed to do and blown up for proportion, obviously. So yeah, let's get back to the fight here. So we're in P3, and the first mechanic is rings. Okay, so first mechanic is rings. We go to the right. Somebody else is calling that for me. At this point, as a raid leader, I'm just telling them that what the next soak is going to be. So I'm going to say, hey, and especially the first one, we've done it enough times. I don't really have to call it, but I'm telling them like, all right, after the Devour, it's going to be a line soak. It's sending all big cooldowns and make sure you resolve after. Okay. So, we're dealing with the lines. You want to make sure you watch your debuff right here in the middle and then take the next one when you can. For the Devour soaks, I always pinged the middle. It's usually pretty simple. Once you get there, like 2 pulls, it just makes sense. You like hit this next one, and you're between 2 planets. You just ping in the middle, and then you know that 1 and 2 go left, 3 and 4 go right. How am I getting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4? If you look at the WoW utils, this is kind of the nice part. You can do the soaks here in there as well for P2, but your Devour. This is kind of the nicest part about WoW utils is you put your group in here, and you're going to see on the rekill all of the numbers that go over people's heads. Okay, first poll is going to be scuffed. After that, it'll be pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, the other stuff in Wild Tales, obviously, try to plug it in. This stuff kind of helps early on, but you get to know who's picking stuff up early on, and you'll figure it out. Yeah, that's set 2. Good. Okay, so I ping the middle, and then we know that we're going to hide soon. So we know that 1 and 2 are left of me, 3 and 4 are right. Okay, so you come inside here, and it's ready to hide soon. I'm calling. I told people, don't try to cheese this. Don't get in at the last second. All you're going to have people do is just die. They're just going to die. So as you can see, I'm spamming a 2 above my head because of the wild utils. These people are spamming 3, and those people spam 4. Those people spam 1. And so then I would just, count down 3, 2, 1, get in. As you can see, I kind of cheese it a little bit towards the end. Probably shouldn't have done that. Is what it is. And from here, Groups 1, 2, and 3 are going to go left. Group 4 is going to go right. That's the only group that's going to go right. Your tanks will do tank shit. Have your tanks research this fight. It's pretty tough for them, but I'm not going to go super in depth for tanks. There's plenty of videos out for that. This is just overall. So we go left, and I don't roar yet. I'm waiting for the stack. I tell everybody when we look at these planets, this is planet 4, this is 3, this is 2, and this is planet 1. So the call has always been get in front of planet 3. Stack in front of planet 3, and we'll stack up there. That's where we're going to use an AMZ. We're going to use major cooldowns because first it'll reduce the raid damage from the planets blowing up, and we have a resolve afterwards. So as soon as you get to the planet, you use a major cooldown, major defensive. So right now, you're going to use a major defensive. The planets blow up in 2.2 seconds, and we're getting pulled in and resolving afterwards. So major defensive here, and then we get pulled, and melee will be to the right, ranger to the left, and healers are in the middle. So as you can see here, as we resolve this, pretty clean. We don't lose many. We had an AMZ over the blow up. We have a rallying cry right now, I believe we're supposed to. It doesn't look like I have the debuff or the buff, so that's okay. And then I roar right there so that we can resolve quicker. We don't lose anybody here, no crush debuffs, all good. This is a big part. If you can get through this and have everybody here, this is a really good sign. Your group is going to kill this boss pretty soon when you get to this part. Because now you have everybody alive, and the next two really aren't that bad, in my opinion. Okay? So, the next part of this fight always is stack in front of planet 2. If you stack in front of planet 2, you can kind of determine where the rings are going to go. I think it's supposed to go left, but it doesn't work every single time. That's probably just because our bait isn't good. But we stack here, and then we go from there. Apparently, I'm looking at the wrong way. And again, as a raid leader, I am calling what is our next stack point. At this point, you don't have to tell people the rings. You don't have to tell, just at this point, everybody knows, watch your debuff, okay? So what am I telling? I'm telling people, look at the planets pre-position. We know we want to play around planet number 4 and planet number 3, okay? So we want to play around there. So you take this, and right at this point, I say pre-position. Pre-position. Everybody knows that call means get to your pre-assigned spots. You know there's another ring coming through, but healers, we already know we're on the outside. If you look at our little, I know my screen is kind of fucked right now, but we have like a little map right here that shows that the healer's on the outside, the ranger on the inside, and the melee are on the inside, next to them, right? So we already pre-spot, and then we come here, we're already in, and this one resolves before the grip. Okay, so the grip doesn't happen for 2.6 seconds, but the gravity resolves in 1.6. Now I'm not in my spot that I should be. I should be over here for 4 o'clock facing the boss, but it works. It is what it is. And so as you can see, we resolve here. Tanks gets to his correct spot. Everybody's good. Ranger in a good spot. Melee in a good spot. Healer's in a good spot. He just wants to make sure he's not pulling us through a planet. As you can see, most of the lines that he has are not pulling us through a planet. We can also dodge the planet on this one. I don't think anybody gets in. Perfect. Again, another pull where we see everybody is alive after the second one. This is super great. Everybody lock it at this point. You know at this point, if you make it past one more suck, this boss is dead. Okay, boss is at 24%. Get in front of planet 2 and stack. So we say stack in front of planet 2, and we're waiting for the next rings. Free time. There's no damage that goes. I mean, there's nothing. You're not everybody. This is where rings. I feel like is so easy. I feel like this phase was not that hard. Okay. Again, what's my call right now? Find the good planets. Right. So we know that we're playing around 4 and around 3. Range should know that they're going to be right up here by 3, 4 for the melee, and the healers are somewhere in between. This is let the suck happen. So this one is hands off, and you just get pulled in naturally. Okay, so everybody's done this. You back up as a healer. I know I'm pre-positioning to my healer position. My range should be watching the rings and knowing they need to pre-position up towards this third planet, and my melee right behind them. Okay, so we're trying to get big heals here, and we get into our spots. And then I say hands off, and again, I'm not in a great spot. And I even move a little bit at the end because I want to dodge a planet. I know that's kind of just a wipe condition. Don't have 5 people in, but as you can see, as long as I didn't have the circle and I wasn't moving, I was okay. If I had the circle, it would have been hands off, not moving at all. Okay, so I just was trying to dodge the planet. That was it. In my defense. Flame me if you want, though. So we come into here. We're at 10%. We have the Devour, and we know that I call this is Devour from 1, 2, 3, 4. Left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's the same as the first Devour, and after the second Devour, we still get to planet 3. I consider this planet 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's just a flip of what the active planets are. So just like on the first Devour, you stack in front of planet number 3, we're going to do the exact same thing here. We're going to stack in front of planet number 3. Okay? So I tell people, get to your positions, get to your planets. All right? And so we get here, and we had actually wiped, I think, twice here. One person had gone into the planet 4, blew everybody up. So we had 6 people on planet 4, blew everybody up, and it was like we're in the same spot. Boss is 7%, we're going to kill it right here, we're going to do it. blows up. Stuff happens, right? Sucks, but it is what it is. We get in the hide, we don't cheese it, and it's the same thing. This is empty the bag, get in front of planet number 3, big defensives. Every single raid cooldown, your boss is almost dead. If you're not at 4%, you're going to be at 10% or 12%. You're almost there. Okay, so we have big raid damage coming. So once you get there, use a big personal. As you can see, we're killing the boss. I will explain what the next one is. So as you can see, this is planet 4, 3, 2, 1. All you'd have to know is that healers go in between the middle again. So you stack up in the middle, big healing cooldowns right here. Range go to the left over one spot, and melee go to the right one spot. So that's what's showing right here on this. It's covered by text, but you can see healers in the middle, melee to the right, and range to the left. You can look at any kill video of a different one that the boss lasts a little longer. I didn't even know it was going to die. Honestly, I thought we wiped when we killed it here, because right here, boss is almost dead. I'm like getting ready and calling like what we're supposed to be doing, and it just dies. So it was awesome. It was a good kill. I thought we honestly blew up a planet or something like that, but yeah, CE. So yeah, that was a super good boss. I hope I explained it well. Like I said, I just think overall the TLDR of our raid, like I think in the Raid Lead Exchange Discord, they push a lot of P3 damage. They just keep saying P3, P3, P3. Like, play all of P2.2 out. Play all of 2.1 out. Save your cooldowns. Like, do those platforms longer. And I just thought that was like a recipe for not success for like guilds like at this ranking, because you know what's going to happen. Those people that are going to die to the winds, they're going to die to the dot. You're going to have 6 people with the dots. The dots fucking hurt. And you're going to have healers that aren't spot healing, like myself. I'm shit, whatever. I can't do it. And we always lost somebody right there. We always went in with one person down, 2 people down, and I just said, you know what? We're close to making the push. Just make the push, and look how much damage this boss was so dead. It was so dead. We were so ready to play this Devour, and we were so ready to play these rings. And even if we would have only had like, what the boss is at right now, as long as you make it through the 3rd set and you've got this type of damage profile, you're gonna be fine. We killed it right here. If the boss was 8 to 10% higher, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, you still just play the set, you lose a couple people right here, no problem, and all you do is like you limp to the finish line with 6 to 10 people alive. Because all you have to do next is rings. You have 40 seconds of rings, and rings are a super easy mechanic, right? So, and I've seen guilds play it like that and kill it like that. So that was my thought. It might not work for your guild. Maybe I worked for us. I thought it was a great strategy. I liked it. I thought more P2.2 damage to make more P3 pulls. We found so much more damage, I feel like, in P3 just from getting familiar and making more pulls. Like, and I think that's true to everybody else too. I think like as your group gets more P3 pulls, you're gonna, even if you don't push at a great time, like if you push at 60% instead of like a 55% or whatever, your group is going to find more damage in P3 the more clean pulls you get there and the more times they get there. You just need to keep getting to P3 more and more times. Every single time that you do your next Devour, people are like, all they're focused on right now is mechanics. Well, guess what? When they've had 15 pulls here, now they're starting to weave in a little bit more damage, and that just starts to compound over more and more pulls. Everybody right here is just panicking on your first pulls. Live, live, live. And now it's like, okay, do the mechanic, but also like get a couple more cast offs or something like that, right? So that's how I feel. I feel pretty strongly about that. I think the strat was good. I liked it. I thought it worked. We're going to continue to do it and continue to keep the P2.2 damage. But yeah, overall, great boss. It was super fun. Like I said, try to keep the video as short as I can, but it is a lot of information. I hope that helps. The biggest, like I said, thing I can tell you is try to push P2.2. It might help with your progression. But if you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed the videos that I've had, we'll continue on in midnight. So like and subscribe if you can. Enjoy and comment any questions you have. If you need log review, I can help you out anyway. I'll try to help out the best I can. So enjoy and have a great time, and happy end of the tier, and see you in midnight. Have a good one.